Welcome back to our series with my friend Ted Thomas. We're talking about something that most people don't know about. Huge money-making opportunity. Ted's been doing this for 35 years and been teaching it for what? How long, Ted? 25 years or longer?
Longer, but
Longer
yeah.
than that.
Uh, it,
So for those, can we just do a brief review? I mean, we went over
Good idea. Yeah,
a
good
lot
idea.
of things on the first couple videos, but review for my subscribers what a tax lien certificate is.
Okay, good. So if you just tuned in, a tax lien certificate is really simple, and so is a tax deed. But first, we have to start out with there's 100 million properties in the United States. All of those properties are taxable. So it doesn't matter whether it's a high-rise building downtown or a residential empty lot where your kids are playing baseball, or it's farmland or it's cropland or whatever. So it doesn't matter what it is, small apartments, big apartments, all have a tax. And if people don't pay the tax, half of the states and counties, half of them will decide, all right, you haven't paid the tax, so they're going to slap your hand and they're going to issue a piece of paper. It's called a tax lien certificate. All right, anybody can pay your taxes. All right, when someone pays your taxes, they give them this tax lien certificate. So when you come in to pay your taxes, you're going to pay your taxes to the county. You're going to pay whatever you owe, but you're going to have a penalty. Now, the penalty is an interest penalty. So in Florida, it would be 18%, Arizona would be 16, Iowa 24. You're kind of getting the idea. So half of the states sell those tax lien certificates. Now, the other half of the states, they're not very benevolent. Okay, they're not going to issue a tax lien certificate. They're going to say, you didn't pay your tax, and then they're going to reach out and they're going to confiscate that property. So that means they're going to send the sheriff out there, move a tenant or you off the property, and then now the county owns the property. The county doesn't want the property. They don't want it. What are they going to do with more property? They already own the schools, they own the roads, they own all the buildings. They don't want to do any of that, so they just want to sell it. So the starting bid at a tax defaulted auction is the back taxes. And what the county would do when they have the auction is they wipe out the mortgage or the deed of trust. So they're going to auction the property for 10 or 20 cents on the dollar with no mortgage. Now, that's going to happen in every single county in the United States. Half of the counties will start with a tax lien certificate. So if you buy one of these, you're either going to get paid, what I talked about, you'll get paid, or you will get the property. If you go to a tax defaulted auction, you're buying a property. So if you kind of have a little entrepreneurial blood, you could buy one at the auction, 10 or 20 cents on the dollar, 30 cents on the dollar. It might be worth 100 or 500,000. We show examples of people buying $500,000 property for $100,000. Well, boy, that's a lot of margin. Okay, well, that's what's happening. I buy properties and I buy colonial houses. If you know what they are, they're big houses sometimes with columns and things like that. And they're on 4 or 5 acres in upstate New York. I might buy some of those houses for 30 and even 40 cents on the dollar. But think about this. If it's worth 500,000 and I pay 40 cents on the dollar, wow, think of the margin I got. Hey, these are used in abuse, so I got to have somebody come and paint it. I got to put some kitchens in, stuff like that. But you don't have to do any of that. What we teach you to do is buy it and then sell it to a fixer-upper. Every night, like every late-night television, tell people, go buy the fixer-uppers. Man, there's guys and gals all over this country. They got paint in their hair and their fingernails are broken and they're doing all that work. That's what we do. I buy them low at the auction and sell them low. And I make $25,000, $50,000, and $100,000. That's what you want. And I teach people how to do it. And Dan's made up some questions. He probably got some from his clients by now. And I'm here to answer them. And we're going to do one more video after this one. And I make a business of teaching people this. And you don't have any big course to buy today. You can learn from our videos. All I'm going to do is ask you to come to a one day, all day. And if you want to come and learn more, that's only going to be $47. So that's not a big price to pay. But we're going to give you 4 free videos to see if you even want to spend the $47.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
I think most people, like I didn't know anything about tax lien certificates, and most people don't. Like just my little informal surveys or conversations mentioning it, most people don't know about it. I think I have a good understanding of tax lien certificates, but the question I had is something you were just talking about. Are they available in every state in the US?
Okay. So the United States, if you can kind of think of a big picture of the United States, the states came into the Union at different times. We started with the colonies, then they started moving towards Pennsylvania and over toward Illinois, and in the South, they started moving over towards the Mississippi River. And then they started taking land from the Indians, and then finally they took a whole bunch of it from Mexico. So each of the states has a different rule in how they do things. So half of the states said, we're going to be benevolent and sell tax lien certificates. The other half of the states said, no, we're not going to be benevolent. If the people don't pay their tax, we'll send them notices, 2 or 3 notices. If they don't pay their tax, we're going to take the property from them because it was a privilege to get a property. We're going to take it away from them, and then we're going to sell it at auction so we can collect the tax money. Now, keep in mind, the county has only one way to make money. There's only one way the county can make money, and they make money on taxes. And this is a property tax. It's not income tax. It's not excise tax. It's not any of that. It's a property tax, and it's a percent of value. Property taxes actually are very low. In most cases, property tax are 1 or 2%. I think the highest I've ever seen is 3.5%, 4%. So property taxes are very, very low. But remember, your house is worth very high. So they're getting a tax on, and if some people don't pay their tax, then they have no choice but to confiscate the property.
I see. So how come no broker, financial advisor, realtor, real estate person, how come none of those people were ever told me about this?
Well, first of all, the brokers aren't bad people, but attorneys, brokers, and people are earning commissions. And a commission salesperson is working very hard to make their commission. Okay. An attorney is working on a fee. He's going to say, well, my fee to teach you that and help you with that is. So they're working on commissions and fees. The government at the local county level does not allow anybody to charge fees. For example, I'm teaching it to you now, but I'm an educator. I'm a teacher and teach people how to do it. I don't get paid by the county. You'll never pay me any money. You're going to invest your money directly with the government. That way it's protected by the property tax code.
I see. Oh, now that makes perfect sense.
They got rid of a lot of, there's no fraudsters in between saying, come do this deal. I'm not a fraudster. I'm just teaching you the process of doing it. I'm not, you can't give me money for any reason. There's no reason. I just have education. That's all.
Okay. All right. That makes sense. Most of my subscribers and followers, I mean, they're not exclusively in the US, right? I have people from all over the world on my list. So can people outside the United States do this?
Oh, definitely. Anywhere they can get an American bank account, a USA dollar bank account, they can do this online. So I have clients that are in France, I have them in Brazil, I have them in the UK, Singapore, wherever. As long as they can get access to American bank, because this is probably the only place in the world where they only speak one language. So we only have one money. So if we have that one money, that works. For example, people say, what's the best state to do it? So I have a Canadian investor, and that Canadian investor, his name is Rene, and I've always encouraged him. He lived in Vancouver, British Columbia, which everybody loves British Columbia. It's such a pretty province. It's a beautiful place. And he wants to buy in the States. And I said, well, why don't you go to the big auction they have in Los Angeles? He said, oh, Ted, I don't want to go to Los Angeles. And I said, well, why not? He said, well, maybe there's too many people there and stuff like that. And I said, well, I really think you ought to go to Los Angeles and look at this auction. So I'm going to give all of your viewers some inside information right now. So here's how the auction works in Los Angeles. When they have an auction, they don't sell all the properties, even though they'll have thousands. I mean, I've gone to the auction there 4 times, and they can't sell all the properties. I mean, they just all don't get sold, even though they're selling for 10 cents on the dollar. But if the auction finishes, the treasurer at the auction can do whatever they want. The most powerful person in government is the treasurer. So the treasurer can then say, well, look, we're trying to sell for the back taxes. So the back taxes were $30,000 on this piece. I'm going to lower that to $15,000. Does anyone want to buy it? And then the auction starts again. But they do that on the subsequent day. So they cut the taxes in half. A treasurer could do that. So I said, Renee, he's in British Columbia. I said, what you ought to do is go to that auction. He said, well, I'm not so sure I want to do that. I said, well, he said, are they going to have enough properties there? Well, then, like I just did with you, I held up the book, and the book on that auction was bigger than this one. And look at that book. I mean, there's hundreds of properties. So he did just what I said. I said, now go to the auction, and watch the whole auction. And then there's going to be properties left over, which they'll sell the next day. Well, you're not going to believe this, but I'm going to put up a video and show you this. He went to the auction the next day, and he had sufficient money with him. He had $85,000 with him. He had $85,000. And for $85,000, he bought vacant residential lots. You might remember on video 1 and 2, I said, if you want a good bargain, buy a residential lot because you can establish value and the prices are low. He bought $1 million worth of property at the auction for 8.5 cents on the dollar. Now, I don't expect you to believe me, but watch this video. Folks, let me explain this. You'll never have to work another day in your life. The insecurity is gone if you just follow in this man's footsteps. Now, we're going to talk about Los Angeles, California, where the starting bid is the back taxes, and they had over 3,000 properties, and that's the auction book that I mentioned earlier. Here's what happened.
My name is Rene Gauthier from Surrey, BC. In October, I went to Los Angeles County tax deed sale. Bought 5 properties for roughly $85,000. They are vacant lots. 1 is in Malibu, 4 in downtown LA. Gorgeous properties. Their value, tax assessed value, is just over $1 million. I did this after taking Ted's course in under 90 days. Thanks, Ted.
Just imagine Los Angeles, California, $1 million worth of properties, and he only spent $85,000. That's 8.5 cents on the dollar. Folks, this is in your best interest. Once you learn this, you can do it for the rest of your life. But you know what you're thinking? I know what you're thinking. You're saying, how would I ever sell those properties? Well, use my Walmart strategy. What is that? It's buy low and sell low. So we had $1 million worth of properties. Let's give an 80% discount and see what we have left. Well, we still have $200,000 left, and he only spent $85,000. Look at the profit he made. Just one deal, one auction in Los Angeles, California. How about that? Okay, now there you have it, folks. He's from outside the United States, buying inside the United States, and just following the rules that we're teaching him.
That's amazing. I think I have a much, because this series of videos, I have a much better grasp of tax lien certificates and defaulted property. So now the only thing I'm kind of still confused about is, what should I buy? Tax lien certificates or tax defaulted properties?
Good question. Here's why it's a good question. If you're a very conservative investor and you're nervous, with a tax lien certificate, your money comes out of your checking account, goes directly to the county. And what you're going to do is you're going to pay someone's taxes. 99% of those people are going to come in and pay their tax, but they're going to pay it late. And when they pay it late, there's a penalty. You're going to get the penalty money. Is that good? You're going to get your money back and the penalty. And you're going to get the money back from the county. Matter of fact, it's so sophisticated that when you make that investment, they're going to tell you on your text, on your phone. They're going to say, you invested X in this certificate. When the people come in and pay, they're going to say, this certificate is now paid off, and we have deposited this money in your checking account. That's what's going to happen. Okay? That is the biggest surprise that ever happened to me. Because I'm sitting there talking to some of my investors. I say, wait a minute, my phone's ringing. Ted, look at what I just made on a tax certificate. So that's a tax certificate. But if you're an entrepreneur and you want to make the big money, my average investor, typical investor that does it, is going to make 25, 50, and some make 100,000 on one deal. Don't quit your job. This is a part-time hustle. You always know when there's going to be an auction because they announce them 60 and 90 days ahead of time. You can look at every single property. You'll know what you're doing before. And we have classes which will teach you. So I'm running out of time for this video. So on the last video I do, which is coming up in a minute, I just want to tell you, I'm going to recommend, if you're really learning a lot, you want to learn more, you can just go below me on any one of these videos, and you can register for a 1 day, all day. Now, I'm not an internet marketer. I'm a teacher. So I charge $47 for all day. It's a virtual seminar. So I don't care where you are. If you have an internet connection, you can watch that seminar. And you're going to have breakfast with us because we start at 11. You can have lunch with us. You can have breaks with us. And we're going to teach you dynamite information about tax lien certificates and tax defaulted property. My point is this. Who do you want to learn from? People that are doing it like we are, or do you want to learn from some internet marketer? You can do either way. It's up to you. We're going to teach you the real deal. And we'll be back with the number 4 in just the next video.